the turning point in my career was the discovery that there's a backup copy of information in every cell, in every body's cells, and that backup copy can be accessed, and there's a switch that you can flip that allows cells to reset their biological age and function again as though they were young, because literally they are young again. And that fact that there is a backup copy changes everything. I'm no longer talking about slowing aging. I'm talking about true age reversal multiple times. And I don't get laughed off stage anymore when I say that.
Do you want to give it up for that? I mean, the idea that we aren't tied to the tyranny of aging and death is extraordinary. It changes everything.
Hey everybody, Peter Diamandis here. I've been asked over and over again, what do I do for my own health? Well, I put it down in this book called Peter's Longevity Practices. It's very readable in just an hour. In the book, I cover longevity diet, exercise, sleep, my annual found upload, meds and supplements, longevity mindset. It's literally consumable in just an hour's time, hopefully to incentivize you to make a difference in your life, to intercept the technologies coming our way. If you want this, it's free. Just check out the link below and download it right now.
The evidence that you have for this backup copy, there are a few things you speak about in your book and your podcast. Could you speak just a few examples there?
Right. Let's see. We've got some visuals we could call up, actually. Yeah. So let's call up the slide with the four faces on it, the top right on our guide here.
Slide 6, I think it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right. So let's do a show of hands. So how many of you have heard of the epigenome, or at least epigenetics?
Hopefully everybody's raising your hands.
Okay. All right, we're done. Good.
They're all good students.
All right, so the concept is that what we've realized is that most of disease and disability is not driven by our genes. It's actually controlled by the regulator of those genes, which is the epigenome. One of the best examples of that are these people here. So these are individuals from two sets of twins. These are in Denmark, a very large study of Danish twins, looking at the effects of genes versus environment, or epigenetics, which is what responds to the environment. And so if we click the button forward once, you'll see that the identical twin of these two individuals, hopefully you can see, looks a lot younger and is actually younger biologically. We can now measure that. And it turns out that by living a healthy lifestyle, often you hear about doctors recommending these things. We know a lot about how to slow down the aging process. You don't just look younger, you actually are biologically younger. And that's why if you exercise, you eat right, you eat less often, you take the right supplements, you will be biologically younger and you will actually stave off disease until much later. So what does that actually mean? If we go back one slide, the concept is information. So the main type of information that we know about is the genome in the DNA. But there's also another level of information that's just as important and even more complex. That's the epigenome. And those are the structures that control how the DNA is bundled and shaped, and which genes out of the 25,000 get turned on and off when we're forming an embryo and we develop. And those genes can be switched on and off depending on how we live. If we put our bodies in a state of perceived adversity or adversity that isn't too damaging, the epigenome will actually respond and be more stable. So the idea is you want to stabilize your epigenome so that your cells remember how to function youthfully for longer. The analogy, as shown in this slide, is a compact disc. Hopefully all of you remember what those things are.
Barely.
Incredible technology. You could fit about 20 songs on there. When I teach at Harvard, the kids are like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. So if you're young, it's like resetting a computer or pressing the buttons on the side of your iPhone. So what the analogy is that the digital information is the DNA, and that's the music, but you need to read it. It's not just bits on a metallic disc. The epigenome is the equivalent of the reader of that information, and the songs are the genes. And aging, I believe, and our new paper presents very strong evidence this is the case, that aging is akin to scratches on the CD, so that the cells still have the music, the genes, but they're just not read correctly at the right time in the right place, so that your cells forget how to work. So we see that brain cells become more like skin cells and skin cells become more like kidney cells. We become a melange instead of highly differentiated, functioning, youthful cells.